Okay, test 1, 2. I think I'm live. I'm still not the greatest at doing this stuff. But oh, let me just reveal my key live. Do, do that. Let me pull up. Let's see this way where I just want to see what the stream looks like live. Reveal my key live. And it looks like it's working. So. Test. Come on, say words. Okay, I can use so. All right, so I'm Alex. This is Billionaire Buster stream. Busting billionaires. We're busting all up and over and on them. Stream number 4. Doing this one on a Sunday. Still trying to figure out, exactly what the best scheduling is. I was kind of out of it on Friday, and on Saturday I did a bunch of fun stuff. So it's the struggle where I wanna be able to come onto the stream and I wanna be at 100% when I come on stream, so it can be the most interesting, high quality thing. So I didn't stream yesterday because when I had the time to stream, I was feeling really, really tired, and I didn't want to do a tired stream when I could just wait till today. Just a little bit of fun news, just because just the thing I did yesterday was fun, where so just sharing personal deets. But I did 2 activities where I did axe throwing. So that's where you take the axes and you throw them. Got like a target made of wooden boards, and you try to sink your axes into the wood. So I was doing that with my fiance, and we had a real fun time. I was surprisingly, I like the first axe I threw went right in the thing without any trouble. So I was actually getting most of my axes were I was nailing them. So I had a pretty fun time. I got better at it as I went too, but I just had fun throwing axes into the wood for an hour. And my fiance, they were having a little more trouble at the start, but the more they did it, they figured it out. On the last throw we did, we both managed to land every one of our shots on the target. So that was all pretty fun. And then there was also this thing which I had never done before. I've never done axe throwing before, but I've at least heard of axe throwing. This other thing, I don't think I've really heard of it before, but the idea makes sense. Where they called it a rage room. Probably other words. There's probably other names that other places use for it. But this thing was basically, and we did this first before the axe throwing. It was like a room that was full of discarded junk items, pretty much all electronic, mix of electronic and plastic, junk items and scrap. Stuff that's been thrown out and probably isn't properly functioning or is busted in some way, and that's why it got thrown out. They have this whole room that's full of it. It's a room. It's not a giant room. It's twice the size of my room here, to give you an idea. But me and my fiance, again, we had half an hour in the room. They have, it's a little funny. They had a few fresh items at the front that were set out for us, and then there's just this huge pile just in the back half of the room. This it starts on the floor and then it just goes up at an angle till it's 6 feet up in the back of just all the other items that everyone previously has fucked up. Because what you do in the rage room is they give you baseball bats and you just beat the shit out of the items. You just beat the shit out of all the things in there. And they give you a helmet with a like plastic face guard. And they give you some gloves, which is good to have because yeah, it was real fun. We were so you bring the bat down, had like an old printer, think like kind of an old or like there were a lot of printers. I'm guessing printers get tossed a lot. And it was interesting because some of the stuff was like newer stuff, like there were like LCD, like flat screen, like modern kind of monitors. But then there was like old shit in there. Like this one printer that we had is like it was like a fresh item, and it was set up in front for us to beat on. It was like an IBM like business enterprise printer, and I didn't see the exact date on it, but just from my own knowledge, that thing looked like it must have been from like the 80s. Like it might have been from like the mid or late 80s, maybe early 90s, but it was it was that old. And through careful applying of a aluminum bat, I got to see all the insides of that printer, and that was pretty fun. It was a fun experience. Never done anything like that before. It was extremely physically. It was really physically intensive to do. Just like because it's the room. You get warm, and there wasn't like a big AC unit or something like keeping the room super cool. So I was wearing an athletic undershirt and then a t-shirt over that, and we were in there for half an hour. And I think 15 or 20 minutes in, I had just completely sweated through both of my layers. So the whole time I was doing the axe throwing, I was wearing just a like completely damp, sweated through athletic undershirt. But it was fun. It was definitely a good physical workout today. Doing just some like basic chores around the house, and I can like feel it in my hands. My hands are like a bit sore, bit tender, just because all the fucking bat swings. Had some fun doing the Office Space. We had one printer that looked like kind of like an early 2000s or something kind of printer. So that one broke a lot easier than the printer from the 80s. Those older. It's interesting with the older computer equipment. The older computer equipment is more likely to have like just straight up like steel components, which your bat just bounces off of and maybe you dent. But it's the stuff that's pure plastic, just fucking explodes when you hit it enough times. So that more modern printer that was a lot more plasticky and a lot less metally, we just like flattened that thing, just turned it into bits and pieces. And if you've ever seen Office Space, I just kept yelling PC load letter. What the fuck does that mean at it? Because I've had a printer give me the PC load letter error before, and it's like, I looked up eventually what that error means, and I think it just means it's like out of paper or something, so that's why it's like load letter, like it wants you to load paper in, but yeah, Jesus Christ, that is such a I don't know what it is about tech where it's like they let the engineers cobble together error messages while they're developing, and then for some reason they're just like, fuck it, that can just be what the consumer-facing error messages are. Just whatever made sense to our like engineers who are working in the lab on this thing for a couple of years. We can just give the consumer like, oh, PC load letter, yeah, oh, of course that from the blah 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 blah. That's what it's like. But then when you're on the customer end, you just like, the fuck does that mean? Oh, it means it needs more paper? It's got a text error display. Why doesn't it just say more paper? That's one of those things. It can be a minor thing, but dealing with tech a lot, I personally do have a thing about really like inadequate logging and just like vague like logs or error messages or like it's like the whole thing. It's like in cars with the check engine light, where there's like 20 different things that can cause the check engine light to come on, and from just the check engine light itself, you have no idea what the fuck any of those things are. And like people say this all the time. You can have your check engine light come on, and then you can just ignore it for months, for years, and your car will work fine. So it's like, why the fuck is the light on then? It's not even. At least when the fuel gauge says you're low on gas, it's like, you're actually low on gas then, and you actually should get some more gas in there. Check engine light comes on, it's just like, it's working. I checked. I looked under the hood. When I hit the gas pedal, it goes. So like the engine's passing my check. We're good to drive. Uh, but that's a thing I could just ramble on about for a long because it's bad error logging. It's one of those things that annoys me about the capitalist mode of production where it's like no one's ever given the time on the production development, and no one's ever given the time to like really iron out all those finer details. It's all that like get the minimal viable product to market and then we'll fix it later. And I can get it. I can get there's certain matters of efficiency where I can get if if it's a indie game developer, they've been working on a game for 2 years, they want to put out that early access version so people can give them some money, get access to it, but they're still going to keep working on the game. Like that's fine. I've bought games that do that, and like that's fine. I can get that. Like Risk of Rain 2. I bought Risk of Rain 2 as soon as I could because I love the first game. And Risk of Rain 2, when I first came out, it was a bit limited, but like it worked. It worked. They had like 6 or 8 characters in the game. They had 4 or 5 different arenas. They had a handful of bosses. They had several dozen items. Some kind of translated from the old game, some from the new one. Like that worked fine. And then the thing with Risk of Rain 2 is if you look at it now, they've done several major updates that all added new levels, new characters, new stages, new bosses, new items. Like, so the game now is like fantastic. It's a real good like a value for your dollar too, since it's a roguelike kind of game and you can play it infinitely, more or less. Like, so that's fine. But I just hate the stuff where it's like, oh, we don't have time to like actually make the error log report anything useful because that only comes up after people are only looking at the error log after they've already bought the product. So it's not a priority to just have like one developer spend a week making sure the error log messages like translate into useful English, because that's the shit I hate, because I've been on this like supporting end for that where it's like, okay, so that error log message, what it actually means is, and it's like, okay, I can figure that out and I can know that, but it's like, damn, I really wish the error log message just said the thing I'm translating it to instead of this first fucking thing that only makes sense if you're able to look into like the root log files and you understand the exact process the thing's trying to do. That like, you tell me random people that like the IPsec key failed to validate is like not the most helpful way to phrase things. Oh, that's my little bit of personal info dump. But hey, for the nature of what we're doing here, let's get on the GoFundMe and let's go do what apparently Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are incapable of doing, which is helping another human being. So let's take a look at. Let's see. I've been kind of liking the emergency tab just because I'm not actually how GoFundMe works, but as we've seen on the previous streams, I mean, the emergency tab is there are some emergencies listed under here. Like I'm happy to give these folks some help. And like I've said before, my only real criteria, I mean, this is all. It is all by my whim. Who shall I deign to give my largesse to? Yeah. I mean, I only have so much money. I'm not a billionaire. I can't just knock all these out, even if I wanted to. All right, help Scott here. Nothing against the guy, but like, yeah, I could give him $53,000, but then like, well, that's the end of the Billionaire Buster stream. I'm kind of out of all my money now. I still have to pay rent too on my end. So really the only criteria I've had all come up with is just I don't want to donate to things that are already at their limit. Because just, it's not like it's bad or something to do. You want to help someone, fucking help them. Oh my God. No one's complaining that they got more money than they asked for. But just if I'm going to be here and if I'm going to be picking, I might as well pick. things that haven't hit their limit yet. And I'm more trying to go for small things. So that would be like 100,000. It's like that's a big amount of money. I'm usually just throwing like 25 or 50 at these because again, I'm just I have I have a nice job. I have a great job, so I can afford to do this. But it's like I can only afford to do this so much. I still I'm not trying to have my savings account like keep getting smaller every week until I'm destitute. Like that's not the idea. Let's hit the scene more because I think there's a fly flying around. I hate that. I hate the bugs. So let's see what. Hmm. It hurts because I want to help all of them. I want to help all. I'm gonna like I'm just looking at I'm just like lost her husband their entire home. I'm just like I already want to cry. I'm already feeling like oh god, unending horrors unfolding before me. How will I possibly cope? Yeah, it's not just Dr. Pepper in that class. Ugh. All right, let's. Oh, jeez. It just since I read it out and they're near their, which it's just I don't know. For me, that's kind of fun to just be like, oh, they're near their limit. Like let's help get them there. Like just extra boost. My dear friend Naomi Klump lost her husband, their entire home to a house fire last night. Her 3-year-old son and 6-year-old son made it out safely with her. Any amount will help as she faces the unthinkable. Yeah. Oh, I'm guessing it's the family here, so it's, that sucks, man. No one, no one should have to have their husband die in a house fire. Fuck. So, okay, yeah, let's hit them up. I'm gonna make these better. I swear. It's a good thing in a way that I have literally no viewers now because I know these are all these are scuffed as hell. They're a bit wonky. Feedback is appreciated. It's hard to know what I might even be missing on. Streaming expert. Okay. I think I did figure it out where I can get these to post under the name of Billionaire Buster. Because I certainly like doing that more than being anonymous. And I don't want to just be my full name because I said my first name on stream. I haven't said my last. Because I'm a leftist. In America, there's a lot of people that really want to just fucking kill you when you're a leftist. So like you gotta be a little careful sometimes. Being white and male only like gives you so much protection. I mean, if you're like I don't know, am I a communist? It's like I'm not willing to say I'm not a communist. So you know, McCarthy would wish death upon me. But hey, I think McCarthy was also a piece of shit right back at him. Anyway, enough bullivating. Okay, let's. Oh, right. I can do I can push this to Facebook. Let's do the Facebook push. In. What is okay, I think yeah, I just did the password wrong. Yeah, let's get that on the Facebook too. There's a Billionaire Buster Facebook. it has like nothing on it. It's just some of the I fuck Facebook. I mean, like that's cool and all, but like ABC 7, two kangaroos at a nature preserve, like this is why young people don't use your fucking site, Facebook. What is even where am I on? Am I on my what is it? Fuck Facebook. I mean, if you're somehow still dealing with Facebook, my personal Facebook, I haven't like put shit on it in a year. My personal Facebook might still say I live in San Francisco. I don't even know. I just don't care. I log into it and I'm just within 10 seconds. I'm just like, fuck this website. But I mean, I got to at least create it just so like someone else doesn't like create it. You never know. Picture, by the way, someone using YouTube. That's just a picture of my kitty. It's just a picture of my kitty I cropped. Oh, he's such a sweet boy. He's so pretty. Okay, yeah, here's my page. Here's some of the other ones we did. Okay. So, what kind of comments I want to be putting? I'll still do that later. Like I said, I have a lot of work to do. Because I'm aware, it's like I don't want to be like, shout out to my SoundCloud. I'm an up and coming rapper. I'm a like, it's a donation. So like, I mean, you can kind of put what you want because like it's a donation. They can't be that mad. I hope I didn't accidentally donate twice. That makes it look like I donated twice. Maybe I did. Maybe I accidentally donated twice. I mean, fuck it. That's not even that big of a deal. That's ultimately what happened. Okay. I'm just very concerned about what happened to this woman. Okay, she got attacked by somebody. Okay, that sucks. See, in America, if someone attacks you violently, you better have some money. There's America, goddammit. You think you can be poor and injured? What the fuck is wrong with you? What would Christ say to a poor person who needed help? He'd say, "Get to work, you degenerate fuck. How dare you intrude upon my personal property space?" I don't have any respect for these positions, so I will just run 1,000 loops of shitting on them. It's it's such an unproductive way to view the world. Like, what are you fucking scared of? Oh my god, someone's gonna get help that they didn't like deserve, whatever the fuck deserve means. Like as if every millionaire who gets top of the line like medical treatment like deserves it. Like as if you can't be a piece of shit and be rich. Like just add up the whole having money is merit. I mean, literally Jesus in the Bible, the whole like camel eye of a needle thing is like as far as my interpretation, which was guided by an angel talking to me in a dream, it sounds like Jesus was saying that being rich doesn't make you a good person, and in fact, it probably makes you more of a bad one if you're not like doing a lot of good stuff. That'll be another stream. That'll be another stream where I'll talk all about my homeboy Jesus. He's like my favorite Jew. He's my favorite Jew after my grandma. It's my grandma's Jewish. But so let's see. Yeah, we got the Clump family. A little bit of help for their, I mean, house fire, entire home, and husband's not with us anymore. It's right. There's no meme. There's no. It's like I almost don't know how to talk about it to an extent because it's just like that's sad. That's really tragic and sad. If this lady was here, I'd give her a hug. Like that fucking sucks. Ugh. So, real quick, because I'm gonna need to do this at some point, so I might as well just do it now. I'm gonna do a quick bathroom break, and then we'll do some more talk. Okay, so let's see. In lighter news than completely unnecessary, abject human suffering and misery. Uh, let's go to one of my favorite lol cows. Lol cows, because you can keep milking it and it'll make you laugh. But see, I'm not your typical white guy. My lol cows don't consist of non-binary teenagers who make TikToks where they talk about their feelings. See, that's not a lol cow to me. That's a young individual who it's kind of like psychotic on your end if you're getting obsessed with them. See, my lol cows are people who are actually doing shit and are also adults who should know better. That's really the big line. That's really the big line on a lot of this stuff where it's like if the people you find fun to hate, if you keep bordering or getting into like teenagers or literal children with the people you're hating on for how bad they are, like that should be a real big fucking warning sign that like wow, a 12-year-old was cringy on the internet. Why the fuck do you care? Seriously, how little do you have going on in your life that just like this 12-year-old, it's oh god, I'm gonna end up just going on that. But it's like the whole if you were around in the time when Leafy is here, that was the thing where the algorithm just like fell in love with him for a period, so his channel blew up. Like I remember the first time I clicked on a Leafy video was just because for like a week or two I kept seeing in my like when you click on a video and then there's the recommended on the other side, I kept seeing Leafy is here stuff. So like eventually I just clicked on one and I maybe watched for minutes and I was just like, oh, all right, this isn't like quite my content. And then there was that like I think iDubbbz did like a content cop video where he kind of that's like if you want to know about Leafy, the iDubbbz is that oh, I can't remember. I thought iDubbbz did a video. Okay, yeah, something like that. So Leafy responded to okay, so he definitely yes, 17 million views. See, so Leafy he was all up on the algorithm. He was big. He was popping off. He was getting tens of millions of views for no discernible reason. But yeah, the thing I noticed very quickly with his content is it was just, I guess let's call it absolutely the bottom of the barrel. Like he's got he went past the barrel and he was digging up through the fucking dirt. Because the main thing with the Leafy content was just uh, but basically the quick thing I'm just saying is a lot of the content was just pointing at like dumb stupid videos made by literal children, like not even on some borderline, okay, 16, 17, 18, high school. They're kind of, they're starting to, like 10-year-olds. Like Leafy would have a video where he would just play out some video a 10-year-old made, like of themselves, and he would just title it something like, "The cringiest child on planet Earth is back again." And like that was the format of his content, and he just kind of like make fun of them a bit. And there's just, if you're a teenager and it's like I don't fault anybody for watching some of that stuff. Where I fault you is if you keep watching that and you don't. It's like, it's, to me, at some point you should realize that, like, hang on a minute. Why the fuck do I care? Why is this interesting to me? A 12-year-old posted a video on YouTube and the video's bad? Wow, they're 12. Like, right? Like, once you're an adult, I'm in my late 20s, it's like the concept of, yo, Alex, did you see this video of this 12-year-old who's dumb? It's like, no. Is it funny? Like what'd they do? Like, oh, they were like singing this rap song they made. Like, why the fuck did you see that video? Like, do you know them? Or are you like, is this like a family friend or something? Is this like your mom's friend's kid? And that's why it's like, no, I was just looking for videos that children made so I could laugh at how bad the children's videos are. It's like, okay, says a lot more about you, right? Like it at that point, it's that thing where it's like, no, the cringy person here is you. They're a 12-year-old. They're probably playing with their Transformers, or they're playing Pokemon, or they're jerking off to overly sexy TikTok videos. Like, they're fine. They're acting their age. A child doing something dumb is like, it's what's the old phrase in journalism? It's dog bites man, it's not a story. Man bites dog, like, there's a headline. Child is lame is like, well, they're a child. I mean, they're not supposed to be cool. Like, what's next? Dogs are furry. Cats can't drive cars very well. Like, yeah, no shit. But all that to say, my ADHD is very evident. Jeez. Let's see. I'm thinking. We'll get into it in a minute. We'll click on it. He's so lame. He sucks so much.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. Okay. This is 15 minutes. I hope I mean, yeah, I ended up just reading that comment there very quickly out of the corner of my eye, and it's not hard. It's not hard to shit on Jordan Peterson, because Jordan Peterson is a very flawed individual. But so, let's have some fun, because I want to, as much as I like playing video games, it's not always the best content it's not always the easiest to talk about, and it's not always directly relevant to, I'm the Billionaire Buster. We gotta talk about more political and sociological issues. So let me try to give, let's see, I'm gonna just try to give a quick rundown on a little bit about Jordan Peterson and what I know about him, what my experience is with him. So here's the rundown. If you've been blessed enough to not have heard about this guy before. So, Jordan Peterson, he lives in Canada. I think he retired a year or two ago or something. So he was, for a long time, he was a professor at some university in Canada, like maybe it was like University of Toronto. Don't know, don't care. But just he was a legitimate academic professor who taught classes and gave lectures and wrote and published books. And his main kind of focus was kind of a mix of a few different things, where it was like stuff related to self-help, stuff related kind of to like a wow, why am I spacing on this word? A bit therapy, Sigmund Freud was the first one of these. Psychology. Fuck me, I don't know why I spaced on the word psychology there. Yeah, it was stuff on psychology, and he also had a whole big thing about being really into like, in a certain sense, history and just all this kind of stuff about like narratives and like symbols and how they. It's kind of like some of the like George Campbell, like Hero with a Thousand Faces stuff. Peterson like really likes that kind of stuff. You know, seeing how through thousands of years of history and different cultures, the stories are told of a hero standing up to a figure of chaos, stuff like that. Which I personally, that stuff tends to cross into realms where I don't like it and I find it interesting. But like that's whatever. That's the baseline. That's just Duke can exist and be a weird professor. Like that's great. Honestly, that's great. I love weird, quirky professors. They can be very entertaining when you have a class with them. But then the thing that got him a bunch of national attention is that there was this bill in Canada. I think it was like Bill C-16, and so my understanding of basically all it did was it just added that like when it came to how the Canadian law, or I think this might have been specific to like a particular province, but it just basically added that when it came to harassing a person, it's like the whole thing with like having it, or it's like the like categories of how that like kind of harassment has to be on the basis of a certain category. So it's like in the USA, like the Civil Rights Act, it's like, it's like race, sexuality, nation of origin, like though age. I think it's age if you're above a certain age, to like discrimination against the old, where it's like if you're running afoul of the law, it's because you're hitting into one of those particular categories, which is a fine way to do it, because that means it's like if you're being shitty to like a black employee because they're black, you're being shitty at them about the fact that they're a black person, like, well, then you're hitting the race. And that, so that's how a lot of countries have their like anti-discrimination laws, because you need to like separate it out from if you're just being a bully who's just like being an asshole. Like if you're just targeting someone and you're just like harassing them in the workplace and you're just being really mean and shitty, but you're like not specifically being racist or sexist about it, like that's still a problem. But it's it's like with hate crimes. Like for it to be a hate crime, there has to be some like motivation related to the person's like some immutable characteristic of them. If a mugger mugs someone and the person they mug just like happened to be Jewish, but like there's like nothing else that indicates it was like anti-Semitic specifically, then like it's probably not a hate crime. It's just like a mugging and like assault and battery and whatever your legal stuff says. So there's bill in Canada, from what I know, and we have the extremely fun benefit of hindsight that this shit all happened like more than 5 years ago, I think. All it added was like misgendering or like gender identity to the like protected categories that one could run afoul of in matters of harassment. And I think that sounds fine, because basically just what that means is, because people don't realize with this kind of stuff, it's like that doesn't even specifically apply to trans people. You could be a cis person, and if your boss was just like being an asshole and misgendering you, that would be them running like afoul of this. Because the example I always think of, where if you've ever seen the show Scrubs, and it's been years since I watched Scrubs, it would just be on Comedy Central. It's like kind of a comedy sitcom, also a bit of drama because it took place in a hospital. But it definitely had a more, for being a show set in a hospital, it had way more of a comedy focus. Like it was on Comedy Central when I was watching it. And one of the things I always remember from that show is there was the main character JD, and then there was another character, Dr. Cox. And Dr. Cox was the much more like senior experience. He ranked above JD, and he's like, his character is basically that he's an extremely good doctor, and he is very good, but he's also really harsh and like really abrasive. And something I just remember from the show, like when I think back on it now, and I think about this like misgendering stuff, is that Dr. Cox would constantly misgender JD. If I'm remembering right, he would just constantly refer to JD with girls' names. Like he would just, he would just call him like, "Hey, there's Sally," or just, "You doing all right, Becky?" Or what? Are you having more problems now, Veronica? Like, and he would like give JD help, and like JD looked up to and did respect him because he was like a really good, competent doctor. And it's that whole thing where it's like, okay, as much as he's busting your balls, it's like there is the backdrop of like it's a hospital, stuff's life or death. So it's, on the one hand he's being a total asshole, but there is also an element balancing that out that like they're in a hospital and like people's lives are literally at stake every day. So like he needs you to be strong. But I just remember that like Dr. Cox just constantly, just always would just call JD by women's names. He did that to be a dick. He did that to be shitty. So C-16 like would have made that part of the, like discrimination protection law. And so that would then also apply for a trans person. If a trans woman, if you have an employee who's a trans woman, and someone doesn't even have to be, could be a coworker, if they're constantly like referring to them as a he, doing whatever, it's, I thought transphobic stuff is always like really, just really like gross to me because it's so fucking unnecessary. It's like it's really easy to just not be transphobic. Like you don't even have to do anything. That's what always gets me with like the racism and transphobia stuff. Like you could just not do anything and you'd already be better off. Like all it takes to not be racist is to just stop being fucking racist. Like you don't even have to go to a BLM rally. You could just stop being an asshole about like people of a different race. But anyway, shit, I said this was gonna be fast. I know I'm fucking incapable. It's like there's so many details I know I'm leaving out. So anyway, Jordan Peterson had a whole hissy fit. That's how I'm going to characterize it. He had a whole hissy fit about this bill and how it would compel speech and blah, 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 blah. With the benefit of hindsight and just all legal analysis that existed in Canada and had gone into like drafting that bill and the ultimately kind of minor change it was making, it didn't compel speech. It mostly would have to do with like workplaces, or it would have to do with repeated, like there's a threshold for harassment, like just messing up someone's pronouns once or twice. Like it's courts care about these things. It's got to be there's a threshold of deliberateness where it's like in order to hit that threshold, it's like you can't really. Oh, you just misgendered them 58 times by accident? Like, no. Oh, you got told to stop doing that on 3 separate occasions, and then you kept doing that? Like, well, all right, that's not an innocent mistake. Then you're doing this thing that we've said now through this bill that there's punishments for doing. But Peterson had a whole shit fit about it, and that was like kind of his initial rise. That's where he got a lot of media attention. He was showing up on shows and being interviewed and talking about it and yada yada. It was bringing a whole spotlight to this thing because it's God forbid we focus on something that isn't just over analyzing the existence of trans people in the world. But yeah, so from my end, that was like that wasn't a great foot for Peterson to start off on. And you know what? I was gonna say I had a bunch of other things in mind, but you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do the video because with all that said, this actually segues really well because, as you can see, this is about him being banned on Twitter, and the reason he got banned on Twitter is if you've heard of Elliot Page, the actor, they're a trans man. Before they were going by the name Elliot Page and were out as a trans man, they were known by the name Ellen Page. You've seen Juno, Umbrella Academy. they've been in a lot of work. I think they're a pretty good performer. I've liked them in everything I've seen them in. But anyway, so Elliot transitioned, and Peterson did some weird fucking tweet. I think it was a few tweets, but it was basically a mix of he was constantly dead naming because I think he kept saying like Elliot slash Ellen, like he's confused, even though it's like no, just it's this whole thing where it's like transphobia rots your brain because it's like the concept of a legal name change. No one has problems with someone legally changing their name until it's a trans person, and then they all shit their brains out down through their spine. That like, what do you mean their name is different now? How? What will the ancestors know when the ancestors pore over the sacred stone tablets that signified their birthing moon? How will if running wolf is now soaring eagle, then the ancestors will not be able to find their. It's like, oh, what the fuck are you on about? You know, like my mom got married and changed her last name when she got married, and then a little bit after she got divorced, she changed her name again. It's not a big fucking deal. It's really not a big deal. People can just change their name legally. But he was doing that, and then he was saying some weird, like he was referring to like whatever surgeons or doctors were, you know, helping Elliot do their transition. He was like, what these butchers did, it may not have been illegal, but was what the Nazis did in Nazi Germany. And it's like, oh, this is not, it's like, right, it's just, this is nonsense. So they got banned from Twitter, because Twitter was like, you know what, you've done a deliberate misgendering and some dead naming, so now you don't get to be on Twitter anymore, unless you delete the tweet. And in response to all that, JBP had this video, which I think I've just seen some little snippets of. It's extremely funny in some ways. It's probably going to be annoying in some ways. So that's where I don't know. It's going to be fun to try to see how well we get through this whole thing. There's been a lot of good meme edits. We'll look at some of those after, because there's some gold nuggets in the shit here. And the one last thing I'll mention with Jordan Peterson is apparently at some point he got like addicted to opiates, which, whatever. I mean, sucks for him. All his self-help stuff is kind of undermined by his own, obvious personal failings in that kind of regard. But at some point, his way to get off his opiate addiction or whatever was he like went to Russia because he couldn't get this done in the USA, and he got put in like a medically induced coma for multiple days or like a couple weeks. I don't know exactly how long, but he was in a long medically induced coma to, I guess, let the opiates just kind of wash out of his system and have him be in a coma. So he just kind of, I guess, just like sleeps through it without having to deal as much of all the withdrawal symptoms. And I'm guessing, I'm no medical expert, but if a doctor told me that it's not a good idea to be put in a medically induced coma for an extended period of time, and that like that can cause problems, I believe it. So I think Jordan's also had a thing where just since his drug addict recovery coma, he's been even more off kilter. I'm not saying it like destroyed his brain, but it definitely didn't create new brain cells. He didn't gain new brain cells from his opiate coma. TLDR, he's been even more like just a fucking weird retard, unhinged crybaby pissant after his druggy coma. But yeah, so you know what? Let's hear. Man, I got banned. I've had an account banned on Twitter. I did not put on a suit and make a whining YouTube. Okay, yeah. If you don't know, we'll just let it go. I probably won't even be giving too much serious critique. I'm probably going to just mostly be laughing because I just know some of the stuff he's going to say is just really ridiculous. And just all for the sake of being shitty about a trans person existing. And I guess Jordan had to see them, and maybe Jordan was just maybe he had a history of like jerking off to Elliot Page's no longer existing titties, and so he took psychic damage at the knowledge that there would be no new pictures of Elliot's jugs.
A few days ago, I penned an irritated tweet in response to one of the latest happenings on the increasingly heated culture war front. In response to the decision of an actor named Ellen Elliot.
It's like what even what even what is the point of that?
Page. I am employing this awkward and impossible naming style because it is now apparently mandatory, and am probably doing it wrong nonetheless, as you're doing it wrong is the whole point of what is being made mandatory. But also, I'm trying to make a point. I've essentially been banned from Twitter.
Again, just it's like, does he even know what the fuck he's doing anymore? That's what I mean about the opiate coma, where it's just it's like even from his end, I'm not sure how coherent and consistent like he thinks his point is even anymore. The point is to get their name. What do you mean I could just refer to them as Elliot Page, their current name that they, what do you mean? What I would call this person Elliot, but that's not what I would have called them in the past time. Yeah. Sorry for your loss, doctor.
I say banned, although technically I have been suspended. But the suspension will not be lifted unless I delete the hateful tweet in question, and I would rather die than do that.
No, you won't.
And hopefully it will not come to that, although who the hell knows in these increasingly strange days. What was it that I said that caused such a fuss? And that fuss is just beginning. And even more importantly, and
yeah, dude, no one's mad about trans
what exactly was it that I said that resulted in the ban? Here's the tweet in question.
Okay,
remember when pride was a sin? And Ellen Page just had her breasts removed by a criminal physician. And then a link to a story that detailed out the happenings. The response from Twitter, quote, violating our rules against hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin.
How ridiculous. What totalitarianism that is. I paid good money for my free Twitter account that is hosted on their servers, and that they would do this to me just because I'm a weird, confused drug addict. I'm not one to like shun people for like having drug addiction problems, because like, you know, like that shit sucks. It's, you know, that's your own struggle. As a society, we should do better on it. But it's one of those where, if you know about Jordan Peterson, it's the whole. It's like, oh, Jordan Peterson became a drug addict. Like, wow, way to. If you know anything about all his self-help stuff, it's like, way to just, you know, chop your own fucking feet out from under yourself, dude. Fucking lame.
Sexual orientation, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease.
He got mad.
By clicking
got, like,
delete,
heated there.
You acknowledge that your tweet violated the Twitter rules. Delete. If you think we've made a mistake, submit an appeal to us. Please note that, should you do so, your account will remain locked while we review your appeal.
Thank you for reading this. Thank you for reading that all out.
Let's take this apart.
what is this? It's like, who, it's the kind of thing where it's just, at a certain point, to me, the thing that's way more interesting, it's not what the fuck's up with Jordan Peterson. To me, it's like at a certain point, it's like, I want to talk to the person who's watching this video with like rapt attention, right? I want to talk to the guy who's sitting there like, yeah, you get them, man. That's bullshit what they did. Like, I want to talk to that guy. Because it's hard for me, because I'm sitting here and it's like, it's nothing. It's Grandpa Simpson yelling at the cloud. Like, that's where it's just like, oh my God, dude. Like, it's like, the more attention I pay to what he's complaining about, the more I don't care because it's fucking stupid. So it's like, at a certain point, I become way more, it's like with Leafy, it's here. It's like shitting on Leafy and ripping apart the kind of content he makes is interesting, but there comes a point where it's like, at a certain point, forget about Leafy. I'm interested in the people who are watching his content, because if it's like that bad and that stupid, like, well, who's watched it? Like, who's sitting there and watching it? That's how I feel about TikTok sometimes, because I'm not on TikTok. I see the occasional TikTok when they're posted somewhere else. But sometimes when I just look at what like general TikTok content is, and it's just, did you know that today scientists have found that by having a dog, and it's just like, who the fuck is watching that? Why would you watch? Right? I can't imagine watching that. Or it's like those TV channels that are just the 24/7 like infomercial. Like, they're just selling, it's just the call now, sell, we have these items, and it's all bullshit, and it mostly like targets old people. There's that really funny South Park episode about it, and it's just that kind of, where it's like, I see that kind of content, I'm just like, if they're making it, then someone's watching it, but who the fuck would be watching it because it's inane?
First, it is clearly the case that I did not promote violence against or threaten anyone with my missive. So that leaves the arguably lesser sin
by missive, he means
harass. Let's assume, since I wasn't informed, that that was the crime. And further, harassment on the basis of so-called gender identity, since Twitter did not do me the favor of actually specifying my crime, and there are many possibilities on that front.
He's a criminal now,
have
so
to guess
I
why
don't know if we
this
should be
is
trusting this guy.
That's actually a big problem in and of itself, and also
crimes.
indicative of the utter carelessness of the Twitter organization with regard to the propriety of its own censorial actions. I should at least know exactly what I did wrong if I am required to acknowledge.
Very funny freeze frame. I also just say, as someone who's been on the internet since I was like a teenager, it's just but they didn't tell me exactly how I broke the rule. It's like, yeah, and they never do. Fucking dumbass, because like, yeah, it's just A, this stuff's inherently subjective, and B, because it's like, just think about this practically, right? Think about, it's like, if you get reported for like harassing people in a video game, like you're playing League of Legends, it's like, they're not going to set some threshold of like, well, see, you called your teammates bitches 3 times. If you had only called your teammates a bunch of stupid bitches 2 times, then you would have been good. But see, it's the 3rd time that, like, because no, it's a more subjective thing about just, you were constantly like yelling at and using strong emotional negative language at your teammates, like, so you're being toxic. Like, that's why you got reported, and maybe you caught the 3-day ban because it's your first offense. It's whatever. Old man yelling at clown. Freeze frame. This freeze frame.
That my tweet violated the Twitter rules. What rules, you sons of bitches? Exactly. Precisely. Why do such things matter when the accusations start flying? So what did I say that might constitute?
Oh, good thing we got multiple camera angles to listen to this old man bitching line.
Let's begin with Remember when pride was a sin?
I don't. I'm an American. We had Donald Trump as president. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Is pride a sin? I'm not a Christian. What the fuck does that mean?
Was a sin and had been recognized
Sins
as
aren't even
the
real,
cardinal
dog. Like,
sin
the fuck are you on
for
about?
thousands of years previously. It still might be regarded as unacceptable to the woke authoritarian moralists who now insist, for example,
gaze upon this man who is completely free of the concept of pride.
That we celebrate Pride Month, not hour or day or week, but month, and who have literally called it Pride Month instead of LGBT plus month or whatever else alphabet acronym which is currently insisted upon as the only acceptable enlightened terminology. I don't regard pride as a virtue. It has been classically regarded as a sin. I don't see that sexual orientation or sexual desire of any sort is something to celebrate or to take pride in. And so what I said was merely a fact. Now, it's possible that I hurt someone's feelings.
Remember when pride was a sin? SJW's owned, destroyed in the marketplace of frozen peaches. Yeah, all right. I'm trying to just let things play. I'm mostly just letting this because there's the way I am. I could go on for 10 minutes about literally every sentence he says here, but I want to. Some of this stuff is more general points and thoughts I have, so I want to spread the spread it out over more content, not just have it all stacked on Jordan Peterson's old, frail, opiate-wrecked shoulders. Given all his self-help guru advice, clean your room before you criticize the world stuff. Him becoming a drug addict is really fucking funny in light of all that, because he's a piece of shit and kind of an asshole and really, really full of himself. So it's just it's like noticing that Donald Trump is kind of like a fat, ugly, dumb fuck, and it's there's nothing morally wrong with being fat or ugly, but if you're gonna act like you're hot shit, maybe don't be a fat, ugly retard when you do it, because it's like if Jordan Peterson was claiming that he had the best ball game on the court and that no one can dunk on him, I'd be knocking him for the fact that he clearly doesn't seem like he'd be very capable on the ball court. I don't think he could handle the rock that much. I don't think he could get past an NBA center, actually, right? Because I do want to make, because because none of this is about shaming people for drug addiction, because drug addiction is a horrible thing, and people deserve help and support for it. Yeah, I want Jordan. Jordan P. It was his choice to go to Russia and be put in a medically induced. He spent his own money. There's plenty of rehab available in the USA. He could have gone to a rehab clinic in the USA. It was his call to spend how many thousands, probably more than $10,000, going to Russia and being put in a medically induced coma for more than a week, and that was his call. That he chose to do that. It's basically just if a guy who's it's when a guy like No Bullshit, if you've ever seen No Bullshit, where just No Bullshit will insult other people for being pussy beta males, and it's No Bullshit is really fat and fuck ugly and stupid. So to me it's a fair game thing then, where if No Bullshit is gonna go after people for what he thinks is wrong and bad and immoral about the way they look, I think that that makes him right. It's if you're gonna dish it out on other people, you got to take it in return. If I'm a bit on the tall end. If I was shitting on short people, which I don't do, the lesson I've learned from being tall is that height is, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do anything to be tall. The only reason I'm tall is because all the men on my dad's side of the family are tall. Like I'm not even the tallest. I got like uncles. I got relatives who are like 4 inches taller than I am. Like they're the tall one. Right? Yeah, I didn't do anything special to be tall. So I don't. The lesson I learned from that is to just not care what height people are, because I mean, really, why care? I don't know if you see him too much. My fiance is barely 5'0". All right, my fiance's tiny. They are barely 5'0". Yeah, depending on at what time of day you measure them, they are 4'11" and 7'8". Like, and who cares, right? Why would I care? But it's like, if I was giving people shit for their height, I don't see why it would be unjustified for someone who was taller than me to then like throw the exact same shit my way. Like I think Hassan Abi, I think he's like 6'3" or 6'4". If I was giving people shit for being short and manlets and all the negative, weird bullshit people correlate to height because we're a bunch of fucking apes on a rock in space. If I was the kind of person who was doing that, and then Hassan, like, just did like some video reaction on a stream and just called me like a punk ass midget bitch who always wins at limbo, and Hassan saying that because he's taller than me, even, it's like, to me, it's like that's fair game because I opened myself up to that. I could do 1,000 examples here, so I'll stop after this one, but it's like if a hoarder was giving someone else shit for having a dirty house, and then it's like, well, post pics then. What does your house looks like? Oh, you're a hoarder. Fuck off. Like, just how are you gonna act big about something that you can't even do? It's part of why I like doing this as like a charity stream. I'm doing a charity stream. I'm not making money on the stream. I'm losing money on the stream. I'm giving my own money away. Which, by my own logic here, gives me a lot of leeway to talk shit, because, go show me the GoFundMes you donated to. What the fuck do you do? Right? All the right-wingers, the quartering. What does the quartering do? Make shitty, fucking D- tier, grifter content, bitching about whatever new thing came out? Like, what a fucking bad joke. Like, you get in my way, I'm going to push you right the fuck out of it, because, like, I don't care about you. You're not worth caring about. Fucking lame. But I will say with all that, I will try to stop pointing out that Jordan Peterson has, I don't know, that he's had a drug addiction status, because I recognize that can reach a point where it just sounds like I'm being shitty about people struggling with drug addiction, and I really don't want to do that. It's literally just specifically the context of him having an issue with drug addiction, based on all the other shit he said about all sorts of other people and how they should be acting and should be living their lives, and then it's like, oh, wow, yeah, you couldn't do your own bullshit either. No fucking wonder everyone else was saying it was bullshit, because you don't even do it. Like, so who are you to talk shit about standards that you don't even meet? Fucking asshole. Okay, that should be the longest break we take on this. I can't remember. When did he say sons of bitches? That might have been too much earlier.
I don't regard pride as a virtue. It is being classically regarded as a sin. I don't see that sexual orientation or sexual desire of any sort is something to celebrate or to take pride in. And so what I said was merely a fact.
Yeah, we can tell.
Now, it's possible that I hurt someone's feelings because I pointed out that pride goes before, for example, a fall.
You see this guy, stone cold logic.
Would do it again.
No feelings, no
I'd
emotion.
also consider it my duty to warn those who are about to fall
dedicated
into a
on the
pit
facts,
that the path they are on,
not motivated by any emotional biases whatsoever. You can tell on account of the way he has a very whiny emotional tone about everything,
although, as I said,
and that he sounds very personally aggrieved, as though he matters in some way.
Next phrase to interrogate. And Ellen Page. Now, why did I stop there?
I say I kind of do like the
because
suit.
in all
it's
likelihood,
the like stripes.
it was
the,
this
like,
seemingly innocuous
like kind of like really dark gray with
including
the less
the
gray
name
for the stripes. Like
of a well-known actress.
it's a
there
tight
I'm
fit.
in trouble again.
I'll give him that.
That likely resulted
it's not
in
a bad
my
looking
ban.
suit.
I committed the fatal
nice
crime of what has come to be known in the appalling sensorial terminology of the insane activists as dead naming, which is the act of referring to someone who has
dead naming, a new concept invented in 2022 specifically to trap courageous fighters of truth seeker telling like Dr. Jordan Benzo Addict Peterson. Fuck, I thought I was gonna say it's so easy. It's a big red button. It's just a big red button. It's just so easy to hit the button of like It's like if the Pope had child porn on his computer, you'd give him shit for that, right? Like
transitioned, another hated piece of jargon and slogan, by the name and by the inference.
You can tell the truth of how it's hated is revealed in that he said it and he feels like it's true. So that's how you know that's a true thing. Because that's what he feels and he thinks. So therefore, no one could possibly have a different opinion that would then inform and serve as the basis for their action. It's like stealing candy from a baby.
The gender, really the sex, that everyone knew them by previously, and in the case of Ellen/Elliot, that millions of people recognized and knew. So I should have either called him, her, they, Elliot, instead of Ellen, although as we will discover, that would have made it impossible for me to say what I wanted to and need to say in the remaining phrases. Not that such a problem would bother those who are objecting to my speech in the first place.
Martin Luther here.
The next phrase
pinning his bullshit up on the door.
Just had her breasts removed. This bit suffers from a very similar problem. I employed the forbidden pronoun her when Elliot, Ellen, is now to be regarded as a he or else.
It's like, doesn't that take more
There's
effort?
a conundrum here to
doesn't it take more effort to say?
Me, although I have been banned because of it. Was Elliot/Ellen a she or a he or Ellen or Elliot when she or he or they, that's Elliot or Elian by the way, had his or her or their breasts removed? If he or she was a he, then why was it necessary to have the mastectomy? And how could those I am writing to make sense of what I was saying if it was his?
So, just in case anyone's confused, I believe the reason Elliot Page got a mastectomy was because they had tits, and they wanted to not have those tits, and then the mastectomy was when the surgeon made the tits not be there anymore. So, some reason this cunt needs to have, like, feelings about that, but it's just... Yeah, you guys ever think that, like, right now, there could be a woman in India getting a mastectomy, and it's like really not a big deal. You don't even know who that woman is, because them getting a mastectomy really doesn't affect your life. That's part why I have the stance on abortion I do, because I've always just had the stance where it's like, just like when I was like young and just like figuring stuff out. I mean, there's plenty of fantastic pro-choice arguments. Bodily autonomy is a great one. Because one of my whole kind of like strong points is like kind of built off. It's like orthogonal. It's like related to the bodily autonomy. It's more about the impossibility or impracticality of enforcing anti-abortion rules. But that'll be for another day. But I just remember, just even as like a 13-year-old, when I was thinking about this stuff for the first time, I just had the thought of like, if some lady in some other U.S. state, or even if some lady in my own at the time hometown of Cleveland gets an abortion, like, why the fuck do I care? Like, I don't even know, right? It's like, I don't even know. Someone in America could be getting an abortion right now, and I'm evidently not affected by it. Evidently, it's not doing a goddamn thing to my life that people are able and getting abortions. Like, that was, like, yeah, that's me being a libertarian leftist, where it's just like, oh, is there any reason whatsoever besides my own, like, personal feeling of outrage and just the fucking feelings on these right-wingers? They got such big feelings. And they're just terrified to live in a world where their feelings are not being perfectly fucking catered to at all times. Because they're so fragile. They're such a fragile piece of glass. You know? Because I'll just say, I got banned on Twitter too. I had just a personal Twitter account under a totally different name. And it got banned. And yeah, I was arguing with someone who was being like a piece of shit. So I said some like shitty things at them. I don't think I should have gotten banned, but it's like, yeah, I didn't make it my whole fucking personality either, because it's like I can recognize that me getting banned from Twitter, it's barely interesting to me, so it sure as fuck isn't going to be interesting to anyone else. You sons of bitches.
Breasts that were removed. Were
Tell
those
me more
male
about
breasts
Elliot's
or female
titties.
breasts that were removed? If they were male breasts, then why were they removed? If they were female breasts,
It's where it's like, why even? It's like gynecomastia. There's whatever condition where a guy can have excessive breast tissue, and they can have what I'm guessing is probably just literally a mastectomy to remove the excessive breast tissue. There's like an actual name for the condition, and it's just one of those things where it's like, does Jordan Peterson know that's a thing? And he's ignoring that fact? Does he not know it's a thing? And he's ignorant? And the reason I personally come down on people for stuff like that is because it's like either way, it's he either knows and is like lying or being deceptive, which I think is a bad thing to be doing, or he doesn't know, which is then him spreading his ignorance, and it's like, someone could tell him this. He could go on, he could just go on Google. Do men ever have breast tissue removed? Has there ever been a case where a male, an XY, cis identifying, got a fucking beard and got the hardest, got a chin you can chop wood with? Has a person like that ever once needed to have tissue mastectomied from their chesticles? And you could find, it's whatever, it's like gynecomastia, I forget the name of it because I've never heard that, but it's little stuff like that where just, if you're not already like ride or die for this kind of motherfucker, it's just like little stuff like that where it's just, I know what he just said was wrong. I know he just said something fucking stupid. So why the fuck is he in a suit posturing like he's an authority and like he has important stuff to say when apparently I know more about at least in this specific area, me, a layman, not a doctor in any way. I have literally no professional medical expertise or training. My job has nothing to do with medicine, and yet I know enough about existing medical procedures to just know that, like, oh, that was bullshit. So why the fuck did he say it?
breasts, and had therefore become objectionable to the degree that surgery generally reserved for cancer treatment was required.
All right, let's get this close
was morally
angle.
Obligatory. Then wasn't Elliot still Ellen and he still she? How could I possibly have written that sentence in any sensible manner whatsoever, while simultaneously making
and
my
it had
point
to be
understandably, and
he
not
had to talk about Elliot's
against
tits.
so-called
If he
hateful
didn't,
conduct.
then they win.
And Elliot Page just had his breasts removed? Was he Elliot then? When exactly?
Did he want to be?
Exactly.
Why do you care?
He was definitely Ellen at some point in
There's
the
only
past. Or so indicate
this doesn't convince right-wingers because this is why they end up that way. But it's just from the lefty perspective. I can't reiterate enough. Why the fuck does this guy care? He's not Elliot's uncle.
Except in this sensorial,
he's not a relative or a family friend of the Page family. Who the fuck is this guy?
Trans activists.
If Jordan Peterson has a heart attack tomorrow and dies, is Elliot Page going to notice? No.
So that I was not
because he doesn't fucking know you, dude.
And how can I describe the fact that someone who was once a woman, and really still is, had her breasts cut off because she, he, them had fallen prey to a viciously harmful fad without using the appropriate sex-linked pronoun and the real name of the real person to whom this was really done with his, her, their voluntary but unfortunate acquiescence.
Add some more pronouns. You only did 3 pronouns there. What the fuck is wrong with you?
To my audience, without apparently running afoul of the impossible and absurd rules that now hypothetically govern morality.
He's right about that, though. No one on Twitter is able to talk about Elliot Page. They all get banned, just like him.
No matter how
everyone gets banned.
It is, abide by
everyone, even if they're scared to say it, everyone actually agrees with this.
An adult,
and that's why he shouldn't stop and reconsider. Because everyone already agrees with him, even if they won't admit it.
She, he, they are welcome.
See, that's those 200 IQ players that like to be a professor in Canada. You think they just let anyone be a professor in Canada? You gotta be able to fuck a bear to death in the woods if you want to be a professor in Canada. That's what this man did. He fucked a bear to death to get his PhD. All right, he's a hardcore
who is quite
motherfucker of a guy.
/actress.
So he knows all and is perfect in all his knowledge.
For emulation, being a star with all the privileges and, let us point out, the responsibilities that go along with that. So by acquiescing to this surgery and by publicizing it, and by insisting upon the sanctity and the moral virtue of his, her, their new, expensive, dangerous, and medically enhanced identity, and by participating in the whole identity charade, Ellen/Elliot has undoubtedly, with his, her, their so-called courage, and remember the White House itself has tweeted out every indication of believing in the courage of those who transition, enticed many a poor, confused adolescent, girl most likely, to blame her emergent pubescent self-consciousness, confusion, and discomfort on being born in the wrong body and believing that the courageous, self-affirming, and morally admirable route is hormonal treatment, sterilization, subjugation to a lifetime of expensive medical complication. How delightfully profitable is that? And misery.
Shit, dude, you should become a fucking trans doctor and you can tell us all exactly how fucking profitable it is, because you'll be making so much fucking money. And you could do that all, and you can figure it out, you can expose it all. But having said you just don't do anything, you can just keep bitching and whining.
Criminal physician. I must say that I've had some post-coital, so to speak, regrets about that phrase.
Everyone pauses on that line. Why would you say that? Why would you old ass man? Why the fuck would you say that? Like, I get it. People can figure out what you mean by that. It's a weird way to phrase it. Because I guess I'll just try and make it quick. That just if you put any thinking into why was post-coital the way he decided to phrase that, then you get to like, so was he like really emotional? Was he like the heat of passion you get into when you're having sex? Like, was that the state of mind he was in when he was banging out that tweet? Was he like, and he sure, criminal surgeon, yeah, like, oh, and then like the next day he's like, oh, when I called you a dirty bitch, you know, I didn't mean anything bad by it. I was just like, I was just like so deep in your ass, like just there's a reason you don't. There's a reason the phrase post-coital, it specifically relates to sex, and there's a reason that's like 99% of the time when a person uses that phrase, they're literally referring to after sex. You know, I had the post-coital clarity of realizing that I just fucked an ugly person from the club because I was drunk and horny and lonely, and now I'm kind of like regretting it because, like, that's a post-coital. You had all that big emotion and energy happening from the sex and from being horny, and now you're after that moment. You're coming down. You're getting more back to normal and out of like horny fuck mode. And for some reason, this 943-year-old man filming on some sort of set about his Twitter ban, Twitter ban. What? Article, Billionaire Buster. Fuck off. Just shit. Alright, I just comedically, that's one to... I know we're getting near the end. I gotta go to the bathroom again, so I wanna take it. I'm gonna take a post-coital piss. Whatever the fuck. Oh, hi, buddy. You're all cute. I don't know why you're on camera. My cat's sitting on the kitchen counter and they just meow at me. It's like, you're very cute, cat. I don't know why you're sitting on the counter. You got a bed right here. You come sit with me and I'll probably pet you. You know, remember, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm gonna try to just. I think I think at the end that's when we're gonna get the big. You can I actually love this feature YouTube added. You can see the most replayed moments, because legitimately I find it useful. I mean, for something like this where we got a couple good big memey lines, it's actually a very useful feature they added.
I must say that I've had some post-coital, so to speak, regrets about that phrase. It is clearly the case that the surgical operation performed by the butchers who butchered Elliot/Ellen was legal.
You just don't have to say
criminal?
That part. Just say fewer words than you
Were the
did.
operations undertaken by the fascist
How hard is it to not say
Nazi
words?
Medical experiments legal? Yes, under the laws of the time. But were they criminal?
That was my phone.
I'll leave that question up to you to answer. And further, perhaps it might be objected, what about
the
damage
when the
done
Nazis
by
targeted trans and gay people?
About their identity to dwell in their confusion? Aren't we morally obliged to
Remember how the Nazis fucking murdered all the gay people in Germany that they could find?
Why?
Because the Nazis were
first, do no harm.
Not pro-LGBT. They were rather murderously opposed to it.
It has been a matter of historical consensus that sins of omission are less egregious than sins of commission. Thus, leaving someone with gender dysphoria, no matter how warranted, and perhaps it is in a very tiny minority of truly unfortunate cases, to suffer the consequences of a theoretical mismatch between soul and body.
You fucking wussy. How dare you? How dare you, Jordan? How dare you validate any of these trans people's delusions? You fucking
gender confirming, another hated phrase, surgery.
You can tell it's a hated phrase because he clearly hates it, so that makes it a hated phrase. It's fucking boring, man. At a certain point, it's like swatting fucking flies, man. It's not even anything.
I might also.
This guy sucks. He's lame.
That the trans surgery enterprise.
If I was in a fight with him, I could totally kick his ass too.
Industry.
Rate of projected expansion. I'll bet $5,000 on I kick his ass.
By 2027
but he's a coward.
To $750
That's why he won't fight me
per year.
Physically.
An expanding enterprise in a time of global uncertainty. Time to invest both in the requisite surgical skills and perhaps in any industry associated with this vicious and unconscionable fad, primarily entangling, as such things so often do, the youthful and female. Isn't that a concern, intersectionalists? Not when push comes to shove or ideology to scalpel. Is that not a true moral hazard? And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules.
A message from the future. He is kind of trying to do that because he's actually not willing to die for his retardation. Also, I just started to pause it there on the fucking golden climax line of this, so I'll rewind us 5 seconds and we can.
Or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Twitter's a rat hole in the final analysis, and I have probably contributed to that while trying to use, understand, and master that horrible, toxic platform. No doubt, I owe some apologies for that, and I'm trying to learn, but it's a relief in some real sense to be banned. And I regard it under the present conditions as a badge of honor.
I can agree. It's probably good for Dr. Jordan's mental health to not be on Twitter because he's definitely not built for it. His brain does not do well with the Twitter rut. I mean, Twitter's a shitty website as it is, so it's not even. Most people on Twitter probably shouldn't be on Twitter because Twitter fucking sucks. But
that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Twitter's a rat hole in the final.
Take that, gadgets! Oh, we'll cancel you in the end. Okay. All right. Before we do the memes, I'm gonna get the search open here. Because it's all the recent ones. We want to see all the recent ones because that's all the good. You sons of bitches. Before we do that though, let's we gotta hit another GoFundMe. It's been an hour and a half and I've only done one. That's for San Francisco. I was in San Francisco. Wait, okay. I'm curious where this is in San Francisco. Okay. There's an Ethiopian place near where I lived in San Francisco, but it wasn't this one. I mean, we open it up. We'll give them the help. I was just curious. I was gonna be like, is this literally the Ethiopian place I've been to? Because holy shit, I'm absolutely donating. But my name is Susan Work, and I'm starting this fundraiser to help our neighbor and friend Tedeschi Haley, who is trying to pick up the pieces after a devastating 3-alarm fire badly damaged his beloved Ethiopian restaurant and neighborhood gym, Oasis Cafe. My family and I lived directly across the street from this cafe and restaurant where we would get coffee a few times a week and delicious Ethiopian dinners. If you've never had Ethiopian food, it's pretty good. It's different. There's interesting, unique aspects to Ethiopian food. It's also good. It's worth like taking a try. It might be right up your alley because it's definitely a unique thing when you get Ethiopian food. He's a beloved neighbor and asset of this community who needs our help to support his family. Please kindly donate what you can. All right. Yeah, let's definitely. I'll give back to San Francisco. Let's give this guy 50. Let's give the Oasis Cafe owner. Let's get 50 towards his unfortunate fire damage. I mean, that sucks. Shit. Why do I have to do a catch paw? Oh my god. Just take my money, you back. Up yours! Won't go fund me a Okay. There we go. It's my donation. I did that. One more step up the ladder. Okay. So we're just gonna go through a bunch of these. Some of them are real short, some of them are a little longer, but we saw the complete whiny crybaby pants pooping of the good doctor. So let's meme on him.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who. Hello, everyone. A few days ago, I penned an irritated tweet in response to one of the latest happenings on the increasingly heated culture war front.
The Simpsons shouldn't be subjected
I've essentially
to this.
been banned from Twitter as a consequence.
Come again?
I say banned, although technically I have been suspended. But the suspension will not be lifted unless I delete the hateful tweet in question, and I would rather die than do that.
Drama queen.
You sons of bitches. And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules.
Hey, buddy, sooner or later, people are gonna come by and discover this.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
What a serious and intellectual titan.
Establishing video uplink.
It is impossible to talk with you. You have departed from the sphere of reason and reasonable discourse. You have departed from the realm of the rational. This means that you have become deranged. This means that you have become degenerate. This means that You and all those who do not call you out have become insane.
Building. Warning. Ion cannon activated. Training. Our base is under attack. Unit under attack. Building lost. Low power.
Hi, kitty. Who you meowing for? Is it me?
Establishing video uplink.
Do plenty of damage merely by being narcissistic.
I am too brilliant a man. Dorks! I have very low tolerance for normal humans. But you don't want to mess with top G
So
trigger.
that's interesting. Okay.
I'm full of electricity, my blood's on fire. Men need to be capable and competent. I'm the guy you leave in the desert to die, and 2 days later I pull up at your house in a Lambo.
God, we should test
I'm a
that
millionaire
theory.
kickboxing world champion. I'm not the kind of guy who you really want to mess with.
Mission accomplished.
Weak men have never been respected, weak men have never mattered.
Okay, is this the Half-Life 2 one? I love this one.
Acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Coming through, sir.
Pursuant to paragraph 1290, I hereby formally request third-party arbitration of our dispute.
What rules, you sons of bitches? Exactly. Precisely.
Furthermore, pursuant to subsection D3, I name the Grisellas to arbitrate.
And I would rather die than do that.
Then I hereby declare this treaty in abeyance.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
You enjoyed that.
You're damned right.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Let's get one more. Let's get one. Okay, paper vendetta.
Chancellor, I know no one seems to want to discuss this, but if we're to be prepared for any eventuality, then it can't be ignored any longer.
Time to invest, both in the requisite surgical skills and perhaps in any industry associated with this vicious and unconscionable fad, primarily entangling, as such things so often do, the youthful and female. And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules. Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
One more. Shit's fun.
As always, evil flourishes when good men stand aside. With the proper vision and aim, all could have all that is needed, perhaps even all that is wanted.
The question then seems to be, can you deliver on this promise? Several conflict analysts are citing your lack of wartime experience as a cause for concern.
Those people have gone out of their minds. The culture war in the West is real, and culture is losing. And the culture war is now truly part of why we have a war. And it's a real war.
Really makes you think. Really activates the elements. Oh my god, is Billionaire Buster live? Whoa. Hell yeah, fuck that moose up. Okay, homepage of YouTube when you're not subscribed to a lot of people is just when she looks too hot on Halloween. What does that even mean? See, I'm not going to click that because I don't want to find out what that's about. If I want to see a sexy women, I'll just open a tab and I'll search up sexy women and I'll get stuff 1,000 times better than anything on YouTube. So what's the point? Christ almighty. Let's see. Okay, I think that's gonna be the end of our Jordan Petersoning. I'm gonna step away for a minute, make myself a drink, and then come back and do a little bit. Alright, I'm back. Let's see. Yeah, the Zizek and Peterson debate. I watched like all of that when it happened, and it's definitely just another example of because Zizek knows what the fuck. Just Jordan Peterson has had like self-admittedly not done any of the fucking work to know a goddamn thing about communism. And Zizek, disagree with him or not, love him or hate him, I tend to like him from what I've seen from him, but I'm no expert. I'm not like, yeah, I've only dipped my toes into the vast amount of content I know that man has produced. Just, I actually say we won't watch it now. But Matt Dillahunty is someone I actually really like and respect. Yeah, does a lot of his main content is focused on like atheism and religion. He does a call-in show that's been running for like well over a decade, like closer to 20 years than 10 at this point. He's got his own channel. He makes content. He's done a lot of debates, and 2 million views here. He had a debate with Jordan Peterson, and we didn't really get any of that from the article Twitter ban YouTube video, but yeah, Peterson's got a lot of his views are in some way related to like faith and belief and spirituality, and yeah, I don't know. He's just a bit of a dumbass on that stuff too. Shock of shocks. And Matt Dillahunty is guy's as sharp as a scalpel when it comes to arguments about religion and spirituality and woo woo mystical magical belief nonsense. I mean, Dillahunty is a fucking titanium scalpel. You can't fuck with that guy. I like him a lot. He's been around for more than when I was young and getting into atheist stuff. There was like content from Matt Dillahunty that was catching my interest, and then more than a decade later, he's just still at it. So I actually respect Matt Dillahunty a lot. He's good. He's good on his shit, and he has definitely helped a lot of people. Because it's that thing with doing the call-in show that like people call in, so he's just talking to random people, and sometimes it ain't even about the person he's talking to; it's about all the people listening. But there are lots of people where listening to like Matt Dillahunty content help them like figure out and discover and think through some of these issues and topics in a better way. And so I'll just say, if you at all are coming from like a atheistic background, if you have any sort of like experience or just history with like anti-theistic kind of content, listen to Matt Dillahunty and Jordan Peterson talk. It's Dillahunty cuts right through all the bullshit like it's nothing, because really it's not anything he hasn't seen before, and Jordan Peterson doesn't seem to even really know how religious he wants to actually be. So like it's sometimes it's like there can be value in seeing like a master not knocking down the target dummies. Just to see how cleanly and efficiently they can just get a high score combo going on that BS. Anyway, fuck, I'm just rambling about that now. On the second drink here, so. But that's definitely just something I would. Because I also watched all of that debate too when it came out, I guess 4 years ago. Oh man, Pangburn. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened to them, but that ended up being kind of silly and dumb. Won't get into that drama because I don't really care about the fucking. What are any of these fucking crap? I'd rather look at my blank dead Facebook. Hell of fucking hell. Alright, 16 minutes ago. Alright, so let's see. Let's pick. I'm concerned just because on my time and like at 8 o'clock an alarm's going to go off, which means I should play with the cat. But I kind of don't want to end the stream yet because I want to keep going for a little bit, but that's going to hit. Let's see. We'll see where we end up. If it hits 8 o'clock and you hear a beep 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 in the background, I'll have to get up and I don't know. Maybe I'll just try to play with the cat in here. We'll just deal with that nonsense. Also, wow, my Facebook is on light mode here, so let's. Oh god, so much white light shining into my eyeballs. Don't need that. What does that mean? What does that mean? Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion, fuck yeah. That's good. I think that's Code Geass. I watched that show when I was in high school. I remember it fairly fondly. Okay, so we had our Jordan Peterson fun. Let's hit what's something. I don't want this stream to go on too much longer. So, all right. So you know what? Let's something. What's something I'll just talk on quickly. Just the giant red, like, face. Its face is there. Like, just I get that it works for YouTube, and for if you do that stuff, it works on YouTube. But God Almighty, is it just like offensive to one's personal sense of it? At least to me, it's like, do you see it? Do you see it? Here's an arrow to help you, you fucking idiot. The thing. Look, it's got a face. What's wrong with your face? I like Red channel. All right. I need to be like a horse and just put fucking like blinders on to just not look at all the. Let me just open a new tab. I'm getting pissed off looking at the YouTube page. That's not to anyone's benefit. It's hard. Okay, I apologize that I am just like sitting here and thinking, and I know I know that's not great content. It's the one of the tricky things about live streaming, and especially when I'm not doing it for like really much of a script. You know, I was ready to look at Jordan Peterson and have fun with that, and boy almighty, it was. You know, I felt like a real son of a bitch there, and it was great. But to talk about, at least a little something else. Let's see. You know what? Let's just fuck it. Maybe I'll just end soon. Don't wanna just try to cram something in. It's not gonna be great. Oh, well, let's see. You know, that's sounding like another family that lost their home to a fire. Okay, let's see. Kim and Angela and Bryce Powell lost their home in a fire, August 24th. Horrifically, only one of their two beloved dogs is able to escape. His struggles in this tragic event are a consequence of Kevin's battles reaching their limit. He's in the process of receiving help spearheaded by his military family and fellow EOD technicians. All who know Kevin know that the events that took place when they are now the Kevin we know and love. Okay, so I guess veteran guy had some sort of PTSD episode, and it was on his home catching fire. That sucks in a lot of different ways. That sucks on every level. Yeah, listen to the kids. Don't join the military. It's probably gonna fuck you up. And you know, there are those benefits you can get, and you know, if you want to do the thing where you're like really, really poor and have fuck all, so you go in the military for like 3 years just so you can get those benefits for the rest of your life. Like, I get it, but just if you join the military, don't get invested. Be the most minimal, not getting dishonorably discharged you can. Get in, get out, get your benefits, cause fuck being in the military. It's a shit show out there. Angela and Bryce have been left with just a single change of clothes and her car. Today, he and his family are in urgent need of funds to cover their living expenses while they navigate through this difficult time. Please consider donating to help this military family during their time of need. Oh, okay, I opened it up here. I'm not gonna not donate. Sounds like they're suffering. It sounds like their house burned down, and that's in America. When your house burns down, that means you get to just be fucked. Okay. Let's get that donation in. Let's push it on the Facebook. And okay. There we go. $50 to help someone. And you know, here's what I'll end up on. Let's see what's you know, the thing about Bill Gates is he's one of the good billionaires. He gives so much money to charity. It's like, you know, he gives so much to charity, and somehow he's literally so many times richer than the last time I checked. You know? Really makes you wonder how a guy can be giving so much charity, and yet he's now got more than $100 billion. Has he tried giving more to charity? Maybe his net worth could go down if he was like giving enough to charity. I mean, I know it's not like he's paying off a mortgage on a 3-bedroom house to live in. You know, Bill Gates, 111 billion there. I mean, whatever you were doing for like malaria in Africa, like that's great and all. That's like probably actually good. I haven't looked into it, so maybe there's some shady shit underneath, but like come on, man. Where you at, Bill? Where you at, Bill? You think the Luke's family gives a fuck that you invented Windows when they've lost their home? Look at all these people you could help, Bill. Lives. Human lives. Many of them American lives. All just hanging by a gosh dang thread. A lot of house fires. That's really sad. This one's about a dog. Even the dog needs a GoFundMe. That's how fucked up we are. Even a dog needs a GoFundMe to live in this world. You know, they say serious car crash. I believe it. Look at that car. That's been in a serious crash. House fire. So many fires. Why are all these houses catching fire? Fuck. This sucks. I mean, I know Bill Gates, you only have 111 billion. It's not as much as either of these other two white boys. But, I mean, you know, maybe from just the bottom of your heart, from that 111 billion, you could, you know, help this family to, like, live and survive. You know, you'd only need to give $48,000 out of your 111 billion. Let's do the quick math. Let's do the quick math in the calculator. So let's see. So in order to help this family So okay, let's we'll round a little. We'll say it. So it's 48,000. So they need $48,000 to save their lives. So let's put that over Bill Gates's 111 million 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 thousand 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 oneer oneer oneer. Okay, so shit, it gave me scientific notation there. But actually, that's fine. So less than 1/100,000 of a percent of Bill Gates's human merit points could help this family turn their life around after a horrible tragedy. So where the fuck is Bill Gates at? Does anyone know? Can someone like get him on the phone? Can we get him on the call? Do I need to just like send him the link and then he can put his credit card in and we can take care of this problem? There's a lot of fires on the emergency tab today. I feel like the other couple times I've been on here, there wasn't this many fires. It's yeah, it makes me sad. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to help the people I can. I mean, yeah. I'm not taking it personally that I can't help all these people, because these people needed help before I found out about their existence, and they'll need help even if I close the tab right now. All those people, they'll still need help after I close their tab. But it's like, why do we do this to ourselves as humans? As a species. Not even just as a society, but just as a species, like humans. I ask you, my fellow humans, why are we doing this to ourselves? It's fully within our capability and our capacity to not have things be this way. It doesn't have to be like this. Things can change from the way they are. Please study history. Look into the history of things. Look into the history of capitalism specifically. See what it came out of. See what things were like before that. See how it and see how they adapted and built off of and rebounded on each other, to see how we went from like feudal and mercantilism to liberal democracies and capitalism. And just, I really just want to encourage the thought that like capitalism it's not the final level. It's not the best we can do. There's so many screamingly, achingly, painfully loud problems. Or just, if you think human misery and suffering is a problem, which I do, today's winners and losers. Okay. You know who I think today's losers are? All those people on GoFundMe who had their fucking house burned down. That first woman we donated to, her fucking husband died in the fire. All right. Oh, Tadashi Yanai is down 770 million. How is Tadashi Yanai gonna fucking manage? He's only got $30 billion left. You know, if anything I'm saying is really hurtful or harmful to him, I hope one of the 1,000 therapists he can afford is able to help him work through his trauma. Because some people have issues that are actually going to affect. This is where I'm ending. It's about 8, so I'm going to go play with the cat. But just like, fuck this. Fuck this guy. Fuck everything about him. And fuck all the systems that let this asshole have $30 billion while other people are homeless and starving. It's fucking stupid. If you were playing Civilization, if you were playing some city management game, if you were playing Sim City and you're the mayor of the town, you wouldn't set your town up so that there's one house that has $10 billion and then there's homeless people living in slums. You wouldn't set your fucking house up that way. You wouldn't set your fucking town up that way. I've played Tropico 4. You know, in Tropico 4, when my citizens are living in slums and hovels, I build houses for them because I don't want them to live in slums and hovels while I have mansions built. We're, as a species, we're supposed to work together. We're a lot stronger and better off when we work together. So what the fuck is this shit? And that's where I'm gonna end today. It's been, I guess ultimately I have had fun. I've had fun doing this. I like giving my own money away to, you know, I give it to those people and it's not my money anymore. It's their money and I hope they benefit from it because they're people and, you know, they didn't do nothing wrong. No one, there's not some like moral thing you do that makes you deserve having your entire friggin' house burned down. So I wish all those people the best. Cause Lord knows Tadashi and I ain't fucking helping anybody. You know, if he's got $30 billion to his name, then he sure as shit ain't doing anything close to helping the people he could be. Cunt. I don't even know what the fuck he owns. Just fuck him. Alright? Fuck him and fuck the rest of them. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you. Lose more money in a day than the average person would see in 100 lifetimes. Go